Hey guys, what you see here is an Emerson Crown ceiling fan. Now this fan is actually another fan like the SMC that I last uploaded, or at least the last ceiling fan that I uploaded. This was a fan that I got during my trip to Ohio to visit my friend, and like the SMC, this one also came from his restore. I didn't get it from his restore, but he actually had gotten it a couple of months back. Because someone had donated it with a broken flywheel. And I'll get into that in a minute. But, so this is the very first design of the Emerson Crown. And originally, the Crown, I'm not exactly sure when it's from. I know these are dated, but I didn't take a closer look inside when I had it opened up. But this one is it's the very first design of the Crown. These were originally designed to sort of go as a competitor to the Casablanca Victorian. So, I mean, they were kind of made for the same exact sort of market. They're both an ornate sort of fan made for, like, residential use. And, I mean, they're both high-end fans. They both have K55 motors. So, yeah, I guess they just thought, Casablanca's making one like this. Let's make our own version. So, and Casablanca was using their motors, so, I mean, they kind of had every right. But anyway, this fan it's polished brass. I don't know if they came in any other finishes. I've never seen them in any other finish, honestly, other than polished brass. And then the later ones obviously came in like white, bronze, I think brushed nickel or even, or something like that. I don't know, they came in a couple of different finishes. And the blades are reversible from oak to walnut, I believe. The lighter side, the oak side, is what's facing down currently. I have the walnut side actually has a couple of paint splatters on it, so I didn't want to put that side down. But I could see that the blade arms were originally on this side, so I just put it back to what it originally had them at, what the original owners of the fan had down. So, yeah. Now, the later design has sort of a more rounded motor housing, and it has more ornate blade arms as well. The later designs also sometimes had uplights. They had some models that had uplights, which is really interesting. But the earlier design obviously is much more of a generic sort of 80s or 90s, generic blade arms, generic canopy, ball socket, kind of a bigger nose, but it was the same kind that they were using, the same basic design of all their other fans at the time, or at least their other K55 model stack motor type fans. Anyway, let's go ahead and start it up on high now. I was also able to balance it really well. It still wobbles a slight bit, but it was a lot worse when I first hung it up. I think I could definitely balance it a little bit better though. So the flywheel, when I got it, like I said, the flywheel was completely broken. Actually, I think I still have the flywheel somewhere around here. Just put it on the floor. Maybe I threw it back in the box over here. So, here's the original flywheel. It's in two pieces, as you can see, the inside part that attaches to the shaft and then the outside ring that the blade's attached to. So that just shows you how far gone that was. So, I was going to buy my own flywheel to replace it with, but my friend was just like, he was like, I can find you a flywheel from a fan at the restore, and I said, you don't have to do that, I can just buy my own. And he went in and he found there was like a homestead or something that they were scrapping. It either didn't work or was missing parts or something like that. Either way, it was getting scrapped. And so he just stole the flywheel off of that, and I was able to use that flywheel for this one, thankfully. It fit, and the blades fit and everything. It was the same shaft diameter, same blade hole spacing, blade arm screw hole spacing. So here's what it does on medium. As you can see, and the airflow performance I forgot to mention when it was on high. Really, really powerful fan, as expected with a K55 motor. I'm trying to think of where I could install this, where this would look good. Probably would look good like in my dining room, maybe? I don't know. Maybe if the blades were flipped with the other side showing. This might look good in my grandma's living room. Or if it was able to be flush mounted in her bedroom, maybe. So, oh, it's on low already. So yeah, that's low speed. So it's not quite the slowest. I'm not sure if you can see in the background the Victorian how slow that one's going on. That one's all the way on low. But compared to that, it's going a fair bit faster. But it's still a pretty decent sort of aesthetic low. I mean, it's definitely more functional. I can feel a little bit of air from it still. So, and now, see what it does in reverse. Takes a little bit of a time to get up to speed. That's probably about as slow as or as fast as it gets. It's going a little bit slower, I think, in reverse, actually. So there's medium. It goes about the same speed on medium, I think. Also, forgot to mention that when I got it, or when I first spun it, after I put the new flywheel on, it made horrific grinding noises, like wet bearing noise, or dry bearing noise. So I gave the bottom bearing, just drenched it in oil. I couldn't figure out how to get to the top bearing, so I hope the top bearing doesn't start being an issue, but thankfully the bottom bearing was all that was the problem, so that's all it took, was just some oil. Now it's silent once again. And this fan makes absolutely no motor noise either. So there's high. It's going about the same speed again. And it's also, the wobbling's about the same. I can still feel a lot of air from it. Alright, so here's your up-close view of it. So now notice the really detailed, ornate metalwork on the faceplate and on the top plate as well. And you can see just how similar they are to the Victorian. They really were, I think, inspired by the Victorian. That design, sort of. So, once again, here's your oak blades, the oak side showing, and then the darker walnut side up there. The Emerson label, or the tag, is on the side of the nose right there. Very classic 80s and 90s Emerson feature that they had. And reverse switch right there and pull chain. I did not get a pull chain extension with this. I think it would have originally had an Emerson, like, since 1895 pendant extension, like the oval one. The ones that kind of look like Casablanca pendants. So, another thing that was interesting is, and why I think these were actually designed to be competitors to the Victorian is the canopy kind of is similar to the design of the hang true. So if you'll see, you got the ribs up here and down here at the bottom. Notice the hang true up there. Got your ribs at the top there and at the bottom where the ball is. I just thought that was an interesting feature. And if you'll notice up here on top of the motor, there's the top of the motor right there. There's a little collar that the down rod goes into, and the information tag is actually on the side of that. And this one is model number CF4552. I believe the 45 stands for 4 or 5 blade because these flywheels that fit are always 4 or 5 blade adaptable, and the 52 stands for 52 inches. So, yeah. Anyways, I think that's just about it for this video. So I really like this ceiling fan. Very, very nice piece. So that is the Emerson Crown ceiling fan. Thank you for watching, and more to come.